Putting on the rinse. Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling start to Thankful Thursday. Yes, we should be beginning every day with a grateful heart because it makes the day so much brighter when you do that. So much more amazing stuff happens when you get to start each day with a grateful heart. So what have we got on the agenda for today? It is, as we said, Thankful Thursday. So what are you most grateful for this week? And I actually heard, I'm going to move my mouse here, had a really good quote that somebody said this morning, that thank yous are to be polite, but gratefulness is to show appreciation. I like that. Thank yous are to be polite and gratefulness is to show appreciation. So what are you grateful for this week where you get to show appreciation to others coming from a place of gratitude? So think about that. And then let's see, what am I most grateful for? Oh my gosh, I had a really cool experience last night. I got a really nice surprise. So I met somebody through Ancestry.com who reached out to me because we had common ancestors, and she's actually helping somebody research his family tree, which happens to link with my family tree, and we have common ancestors. And I already know he comes from my father's mother's mothers, so my great-grandmother on my paternal side, he comes from that same branch of the family as my great-grandmother does. So we've been going backwards and forwards, and she sent over to me last night. She says, well, look, he sent me this to forward on to you, and it was two newspaper articles that I hadn't seen in years. These articles were written back in the 80s, and they're about my grandmother and her time in the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, otherwise known as WAFs. And one of them, she's got the book on the WAFs that came out, and she was one of the contributors to this book. And I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't looked at that book in years. And so I read the articles and everything else. They brought back a lot of memories with my grandmother, which was awesome and amazing. I downloaded the articles because I had not seen them since the articles had been written, and my grandmother, when we went up to visit, was showing them to everybody. Oh, look, I was in this, and here's this article here, and here's this article here, and all of that. And then the other attachment she sent was a letter my great aunt, my grandmother's younger sister, had actually written. So my paternal grandmother, her sister, had written a letter to one of the cousins, and it was just a really quirky letter which totally fitted her personality. As soon as I saw the address, I thought, oh, is that Auntie Pat's address? And as soon as I started reading the letter and hearing the language coming through and how it was written, I thought, yeah, that's Auntie Pat. Yet I'd only ever met Auntie Pat once, and that was when I was back in New Zealand for my 40th birthday. Yet the area that she lived in, we were there often in that area, but for some reason, I had never met her until my 40th birthday. And it's the one and only time I've met her in person. I had spoken to chatted with her backwards and forwards since that visit up until the time that she passed away. Yeah, that was definitely her letter. So it was great to get those. And then I forwarded them on to my mum and dad so they could see them. And so it was a very pleasant surprise to find that in my email last night. So I am very grateful to this person that I met on Ancestry for connecting me with a cousin that I may or may not have met. I mean, she gave me his first name, and I thought, well, on that side of the tree in that particular family, I only know of one. And he goes more by, and I thought he goes more by his nickname than his full name. But I did meet him when I was a teenager with his full name. And then it wasn't until my 40th birthday that we actually met in person again with that same thing. So I'm not sure if it's actually him or if it's a different relative in the family tree that happens to have the same first name. So I'm curious because she's now putting us directly in connect with each other because she's moving on to other trees to do that. So I'm very grateful for that connection that came through just out of the blue. And now I'm getting to connect with more family members back in New Zealand. So I'm super excited about that. And your Tell Your Story question of the day, I'm going to be really quick here because I'm going to go cook breakfast. I'm having hash browns with breakfast and eggs, so yum. I don't know why I just said, where do the eggs come from? Oh, yeah, I do have eggs. So your tell a story question today is, what were your favorite breakfast foods growing up? And are they still your favorites? And I thought about this and I thought, what did I used to eat for breakfast? Well, in the wintertime, Mum would always make us porridge, which is similar to oatmeal, but it takes a lot longer to cook, and you can't do instant porridge because it doesn't taste right. And I also like wheat bix, and over here you can get them in the store, but they're called wheat bix. But those were my favorite breakfast foods. And yeah, I did like the bacon and the eggs when we got to have those, but my regular breakfast was wheat bix in the summertime, and Mum would always stew fruit. So she'd stew some apples. She may put some rhubarb in there, and you'd have stewed rhubarb and apples, and whatever stewed fruit she had is what I would put on top of my wheat bix. Not so much in the wintertime because it was cold in the mornings. And so we had our porridge in the mornings with brown sugar and milk. Oh, good combination. And then the brown sugar you have to put the brown sugar on first before you put the milk on, so the brown sugar would like melt and caramelize on top of the porridge, and then you could put your little milk. And I tried to make it go down the side. And sometimes if I left my porridge sit long enough, or my mum had cooked it to this consistency, the porridge would kind of float like a lump in the middle of the milk, and I loved it when it did that. So just the little things that come back to your own time about things that you used to like when you were a kid. So what were some of your favorite breakfast foods growing up, and are they still your favorites today, or do you have new favorites, and what are those? And I'm super excited to announce, please mark off your calendars for November the 2nd, 6 p.m. Pacific time. It is Tuesday, November the 2nd at 6 p.m. Pacific, because we are going to have a very, very special guest on that evening. And I am super, super excited to have this person, to be able to have the opportunity to interview this incredible human being. I can't wait for you guys to meet her. She is an amazing, amazing woman. And she's going to be sharing some really cool stuff with us. So looking forward to November the 2nd at 6 p.m. Pacific. So put that in your calendars now, because we will be bringing out announcements later on where you can, we'll put the links out later on, where you'll be able to click on the link to remind you, as a reminder that that live's coming up. But anyway, go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling day full of gratitude today. Be grateful for anything and everything in all situations. And we will catch you back here this evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hekonara.